Morning, everybody. It's Callous, and I'm here with another Callous Draft Duel from the round of 16. Today, we have DarthTyros, former Callous Invitational Play-Ins competitor, and BluesEnergy, former Callous Invitational Main Event competitor. These guys both Mushy Leaguers, and they're both longtime friends of the channel and guys that have been on my server. Like them both quite a bit, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this. But I do want to start things off by giving Tyros a bit of a shout-out. I know it seems hard to believe that this is even possible, but there are actually channels out there on YouTube that are somehow smaller than mine. DarthTyros right now has only about 50 subscribers, and he's a high-effort guy. He made a video of his previous draft against Gold. He went into the weeds. It's like an hour and a half. He really took a deep dive into it. So if you guys want to support him, let me encourage you to give him a subscriber. I'm going to put a link in the description to his YouTube channel, and if you guys want to check that out, I think it would make his day if you were to click the button and give him a new subscriber. So please consider, if you like really in-depth, really high-effort ADV content from a unique point of view, maybe Tyros is your guy. Check out his channel. And I wouldn't mind if you subscribe to mine too, but seriously, show him some love. With that out of the way, let's get into this draft. Tyros, as is the case on the left, in the red, in all these, is player 1, and then Blues on the right, fittingly, Blues being red, just the world could not handle this paradox. Blues is blue, and all is right with the world. So let's get into the bans. Tyros is going to ban out Celebi. And I feel like I recently covered a draft where this happened. Celebi has not been banned out very often in this, but a couple of people in round 2 have taken to getting rid of it. Still not sure how I feel about it. It does check a bunch of boxes at once. It can be a key offensive piece or a key defensive piece. It can have relatively decent set diversity, and BP is always scary to play against, especially when it's not dry BP. CM BP or good sub, 101 sub BP can be pretty scary to play against. So all things considered, it's a status absorber too. So all things considered, does it offer too much as a whole package to want to play against it? Not sure if it's worth a ban or not, but it's definitely good, and I can see why somebody would not want it there. So taking Celebi out of the pool. Blues, least surprising player 2 ban ever. Skarmory goes. We've already discussed. I'll touch very briefly and move on. The reason that player 2 wants to ban Skarm rather than player 1 is because player 1 has the first pick. So if player 2 doesn't ban it, player 1 can simply first pick it. If you think it's broke, you take it, pick 1, and that's that. So a lot of player 2s have felt obligated to ban it. Whether or not that's right, whether or not Skarm is actually broken, TBD, because it hasn't gotten through bans often enough to really know. But the consensus is player 2 must ban Skarm, and alas, there it goes. On the other side, another special wall. Going to take Blissey out. Wonder if he's trying to prepare himself for a pick 1 Raikou or something along those lines, if he's taking out these Pokemon in particular. Usually things like Metagross, Zapdos, Snorlax, Gengar are prioritized over Blissey as far as bans are concerned. So either Tyros rates Blissey higher than a lot of other people do, which is very possible. He very much, with ADV, marches to the beat of his own drum, or he is specifically trying to pick up, like I said, like a Gengar or a Raikou or some kind of special attacker that really wants Blissey to not be there. And then another very common ban, Tyranitar. So with that, we're going to have a lot of powerful pokes available. There's going to be Metagross and Zapdos, which are both really common first picks. There's also going to be Lax. There's also going to be Raikou. There's also going to be Gengar, Aerodactyl, Salamence, pick of the litter here. And with all those options available, an interesting choice, a head scratcher, not the choice that I think most players would have made in this position, is going to be pick 1 Snorlax for DarthTyros, but something that is immediately interesting about that is he trying to suffocate the special walls? Is that where he was going with the bans? Is he going to take Celebi Blissey, take the Lax here, and then does he plan a little bit later in this on taking, say, both Regice and Registeel, or at least one of those, and then leaving his opponent with not that many options from pretty early on with special walls. I mean, you're obviously not going to take Chansey this early, but like, if that really is your strategy, I could see him like with the last picks of the round going Registeel, Regice, and then banning out Chansey, and all of a sudden, man, Blues doesn't have that many options for special walls. That could be the plan, or he may simply view Lax as stronger in this than Metagross and Zapdos, which I don't know that I agree with, but he's the one drafting, and it's his prerogative, so if that's how he sees it, good for him. Blues is going to make the most obvious picks ever. The two pokes that I would have considered as the first pick if I were Tyros. Why choose between them? Just have both. Metagross Zapdos feels like a pretty obvious response. I don't know what else you would do here. Again, there's Aerodactyl, Gengar, Salamence, whatever. I think these pokes are just better. I think these might be the 1 and 2 pokes in draft as far as things that like remotely regularly make it through bans. And gotta like Blue's start a little better here. To me, these are both better than Lax, so yeah, they're both available. Dream scenario. Let's grab them. So on the flip side here, and this is interesting too, usually my Milotic is taken after Salamence as a counter pick, but he's actually just going to take my Milotic right now and let Salamence float back. So he's telling you, he's floating it over there like, okay, I'll put Mence out there, but if you take it, I already have the counter, so think twice. He might be attempting to get the Salamence back to him. He might, by showing the Milotic, try to discourage Blue from taking it here. He might be like, I actually really prefer that you take like Gengar Aero or Gengar Starmie or something like that here. I actually really want the Salamence back for myself. And it's interesting now, if Blues, do you want to take Mence into the guy who just took Milo? I mean, maybe, because as with any counter, there's only a 1 in 3 chance that they end up in the same game against each other, but if you were leaning Salamence, I might now lean, like I said, towards like Aero Gar or Gar Star or something to that effect instead. It's interesting. We'll see. That's the earliest Milo I think that we've seen, especially from player 1. So we'll see how Blues interprets that and how he wants to proceed from there. And then the Raikou is just generically good. One of the top pokes in the format, certainly top 10, even including stuff that gets banned. 2 of its better counters, Celebi, Blissey, out of the pool. So, good start as far as I'm concerned for a Raikou drafter. Makes a lot of sense for me to take that there. But it's an interesting response from Blues. Like, if I were to see Milotic and Raikou and Lax, for me, Aerodactyl would be automatic. How would you not take Aerodactyl there? But he sees it completely differently. He's going to, despite the fact that Milotic just got taken, he's going to take Salamence anyway. He's going to go Jolteon Salamence, which is really interesting stuff. This is a bit earlier than most people have been taking Jolteon. It's also very much going to, when you take the double electric that early, it's going to super encourage Tyros to just, like, right now he could easily just go, I mean, he's got to take Arrow, apparently, since Blues let that go back. But, like, sometime soon, Tyros should take, Swampert Claydol, Swampert Flygon, whatever. Knowing that the double electric is there that early, you should really load up on the resist. Now, granted, with Celebi gone, they're a little bit better. But there's still multiple combinations of Mons that you could use to make it so the electric simply can't cover everything with their hidden powers. I'd be loading up on ground Mons for sure, because it serves double duty. Taking ground stuff protects your Raikou as well, and then it's also going to be good against Zapdos Jolteon. So I think that is where you want to be. I'm surprised that he floats Aerodactyl back. I'm kind of surprised by both these picks. The Mence is just generically good, so I'm okay with it, but it's maybe a little bit worse than it would be if your opponent hadn't just taken Milotic. If it were me drafting here, I think my picks would have been either Aerodactyl Gar or Aerodactyl Star. I don't hate going Aerodactyl Salamence here, but like I said, Salamence may be a smidge worse when your opponent just took Milotic, but at the same time, the fact that your opponent took Milotic means that you can't take Milotic, so if you float the Salamence back and they take it, well, what are you picking now? You don't have its counter. So with that logic, I'm okay with Mence. Like I said, the one that really stands out to me is not taking Aerodactyl here, which I think Tyros certainly should in response. So maybe if I were drafting in blue seat there, I would have gone Aerodactyl Mence, but he prefers Jolteon, which is good against Milotic and is a reasonable Raikou counter between Volt Absorb, outspeeding it, the ability to T-Wave it, the ability to roar it out. I could see why he would want that, especially with Special Walls removed against the Raikou drafter. So the response on the other side, man, this is the most Blues response ever. He did this last time, too. He has an absolute hard-on for Regirock. He took it super duper early before, and he's going to do it again. And incredibly, he's going to again pass on Aerodactyl. I mean, look, Regirock is good. I like the Mon. I've been advocating for the Mon. I think it should cost more in Emerald Open. I think it's underrated in Emerald Open. I think it's underrated in OU. Overall, it's good. It should get picked or banned in literally every single one of these drafts. I'm a Regirock fan, but there's got to be a line. There is no way that the thing is better than Aerodactyl. That can't be right. It just can't. I like me some Regirock. It feels too early. I don't think Blues was about to take Regirock with these next two picks. Why would you not take... I mean, Swampert's fine. Again, I prefer Gengar or Starmie, but, like, fine. There's a Metagross Salamence on the other side. Fine. Take Swampert. I'm good with it. Why wouldn't you go Swampert Aerodactyl? It's crazy to me. I know he likes Regirock. I like Regirock, but, man, better than Aero? I don't know about all that. That one's crazy to me. But, yeah, hey, he took it really early last time. He won his draft 2-0. If you want to just say, shut up and look at results, which I think is a bad mindset and not the way that you should evaluate things in Mons. But if you're a super results-based person, the results indicate that it worked. So, will it work again? We'll see. And Regirock does have merit against Zapdos and Salamence, but so does Aerodactyl. Yeah. Okay. So here is the response from Blues. A lot more standard here. He's going to go with Gengar and Fortress, interestingly. I don't hate valuing Fortress higher than, above. English is hard, man. I don't mind valuing Fori over Starmie. They function differently. I mean, the common denominator is they have spin, but they're really different Mons. Like, Fori can never be truly offensive. Obviously, Off-Star is a very real set. Set diversity for Starmie, far more. They have very different weaknesses and resistances. Fori obviously only has the one weakness and has a lot of resistances. Starmie also resists quite a bit, but it also has a lot more weaknesses. Starmie's way faster. Starmie has a natural cure and T-Wave. Fori sets spikes. They really, I mean, like I said, the common denominator is spin, but they really do function very differently. They're very different Mons. I don't hate this pick. I think it might draw a Starmie as a response, or perhaps a Claydol and Starmie as a response with both electrics on the other side. Claydol makes a ton of sense now already when, like I said, double electric and now a spiker. I think you might get a doll back. A doll can also deal with Gar, which you just took. But yeah, I don't hate this. Tyros, I think, if he takes like anything other than Starmie Arrow here, it seems so obvious. Anything other than those picks seems wrong to me. But Tyros doesn't give a shit. He's just gonna draft what he wants to draft. But yeah, I'm okay with this. Gar, arguably, again, other than Arrow, might be the best thing available. I think Arrow is better than Gar. Not everyone sees it the same way. Gengar's been outright banned several times. I don't think Aerodactyl ever has. So maybe some people think that that is not the right order and that Gar is the better Mon. To me, again, I would have definitely taken Arrow here for Blues, but I'm okay with the Fori pick. And Tyros is definitely, surely, absolutely, undoubtedly going to take Aerodactyl here. Right? Fuck that. Gonna go Alakazam and Regice. Yeah, look, this is gonna be a real repetitive broken record video. Again, these Mons are fine. There is absolutely no way in fucking hell I mean, certainly even more so with Zapdos, Salamence, Gengar on the other side, but just in general, there is absolutely no fucking way in hell that I wouldn't take Aerodactyl here. It is crazy to me. This is the first draft, and my prediction is the only draft in the entire tournament where Aerodactyl somehow does not get picked or banned at the end of round one. That is crazy to me. It has never made it to the second bans, and I don't think it ever will again. I don't think that could possibly be right. I don't know if one or both of them screwed up somewhere, but somebody is doing something wrong. Aerodactyl needed to be grabbed somewhere in here, and it is insanity to me that it was not. Starmie wasn't grabbed either, which is unusual. That one doesn't feel... It's weird, and it probably isn't right either, but that one doesn't feel like you should be thrown in jail and have the key tossed away. Not taking Aerodactyl is a crime, is a high crime. You should be locked up in solitary, and the key should be thrown away. Someone has done something unforgivable with this Aerodactyl thing. Looking at what he has taken, Regice does make sense on the other side. It is a threat to Zapdos. It does wall Jolteon. It does hit Salamence with a super effective Ice Beam. Obviously, one-hit KO. It walls Gengar for the most part. I like the Regice pick. I have no problem with the Regice pick. I very much think it should have been Regice and Aerodactyl rather than Alakazam. But talking about the Alakazam, so it does learn Fire Punch, CM Fire Punch, dangerous against Meta, against Fori. You can outspeed Gengar, one-hit KO it with Psychic. It's an offensive threat to any of these other things, but obviously they can potentially get ahead of it, whether it's with T-Wave or Agility or what have you, Dragon Dance. But none of them really want to switch into Alakazam. Again, good Mon, fine with the Mon, take it in the next round. I like me some Alakazam. It's not better than Aerodactyl, and I will turn this video off. It's like a mother threatening the nagging toddler. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? In the back seat. It's like that. This video's done. It's not going on YouTube. If someone does not fucking ban Aerodactyl in this round, it's over. This draft is not worth covering. Not worth my time. Later, Gator. Having breakfast. Going to the gym. I am done with this shit. Someone better ban Aero. Did people forget that it exists? What is happening? The ban for Blues is not Aero. And he shouldn't ban it. Tyros should ban it because Blues is going to have the double pick. So if somehow Aerodactyl makes it through this, which it never, ever, ever should, and Blues does not take it, I'm pulling my hair out, I'm turning the video off, and that is the end of it. Going to take Starmie out of the pool. Totally fine with that. He's the 4E drafter. Take the good spinners away from your opponent. I think you should consider also banning or taking Claydol here. Taking Claydol is an interesting proposition. Good-ish against Raikou. Good-ish against Regirock. Not great against the rest of Tyros' team, but if you're not going to ban it, you want to consider taking it because I think Claydol is pretty good against Blues. Spinning away against Fortress. One of the only spinners that actually hurts Gengar meaningfully, and obviously good against the double electric. So I think if you're not going to take it, which I'm kind of lukewarm about him taking it, perhaps he should ban that. If there's something that he feels like he really, really needs to ban, really needs to get out of there, and therefore he can't also ban Claydol, then I guess maybe you're obligated to take it so Tyros doesn't. But Claydol should factor in here at some point. DarthTyros remembers that it exists. Bans Aerodactyl. Thank fuck. Still think a lot of the picks up to this point were not correct for not taking him, but I can finally stop talking about him. I can't get through a sentence without saying take Aerodactyl. You should take Aerodactyl. Crazy to me. That one's gonna bug me. That one I'm gonna be at work today and be talking with my coworkers. Hey man, how was your weekend? Take Aerodactyl, motherfucker. You're wrong. Oh, I'm glad you had a good weekend. Yeah. Hey, how's your Sunday? Take Aerodactyl. You stupid fuck. How do you not take Aerodactyl? Yeah, I'll get some lunch. Yeah. Yeah, you want to order from the pizza place up the street? I'd like a large pizza with mushroom and Aerodactyl, you motherfucker. I think that's going to be a preview of my day. That's how I anticipate it going. but hopefully I can not mention it for the rest of the video until the very end, or we're going to get really off the rails more than we already have. So, BluesEnergy does not agree with my Claydol thought, and I've got a kitty stepping on the keyboard here. Let's make sure that that stays there. Hey, Chester, do you want to help me narrate this draft? Hey, Chester. Chester wants to help. BluesEnergy here is going to remove Moltres, which, okay, fine with it. Like I said, the Claydol makes sense into what he's doing. He may still take it, but Firebirds have been pretty well respected in this. Have been picked and banned in like round 2-ish pretty often, whether it's Zard or whether it's Molt. I don't have super strong feelings with Molt here. I don't know that he was going to take it necessarily into like the Lax Milo drafter. It doesn't seem, and Regirock too, it doesn't seem fantastic into Tyros. Now granted, it doesn't seem broken into Blues either, but it's just one of those folks like Zard where it's just, it's always going to be dangerous. You just don't want to play against it, whether it roars you out, wows you, hits you pretty hard with a high special attack stat. It just, better safe than sorry. It's just good. If you just want to take out a generic, good, generic, powerful Mon, then, yeah, then Moltres it is. And then on the other end, this one's a little bit weird to me. I would think that he might be inclined to take this and use it rather than ban it out, but I guess part of DarthTyros' secret strategy is Regi dominance. Only I can have the Regis. As far as he's concerned, he's got the rock, he's got the ice, and now nobody, if I can reach over my cat, now nobody will have Registeel. You could argue that he could take it. It's like okay against Mence. I mean, sometimes it could be mixed Mence and just get you with Flamethrower or whatever. It's okay against physical meta, okay against physical Mence. It doesn't blow me away against Blue's team, but like it's generically good, and it's one of the only good special walls remaining. And that could be part of why he takes it. He already banned out Celebi and Blissey, so now he's taking another special wall out of the pool after taking Regis. So if Blues wants a special wall, might be resigned to Chansey down the road, which is, it's usable, but not the same quality, in my opinion, as these. It definitely might be part of the DarthTyros strategy. It makes sense. So he took the Celebi and the Blissey out of play. He took the Raikou early. He took this really early, in my mind, Alakazam. I think part of what he's trying to do is get the special walls out of there. And that might be why, I mean, he really, like I said, he just has a Regirock card on in general. But maybe he's additionally, with the Lax, with the double Regi, it might be remove the special walls, boom on any other kind of sort of special walls that remain, and then win with special attackers. Might be the strategy that Tyros is aiming for. He might have taken a weird roundabout path to get there, but I do see what he's trying to do, even if I don't agree with every single pick. So back to Blues here. Gonna go with Gyarados and Flygon. Like these picks. Gyarados definitely really powerful in this format. I think that as the Zapdos drafter, it gets even better, but it's just really good in general. He's also really, he's dominating the air, so he's really, not that Tyros even has a Spiker, but so far a Spiker doesn't look like it would be devastating if Tyros were to take one. He's already got Zapdos, Salamence, Gengar, Gyarados, Flygon. Literally more than half of his picks are Spikes immune. So I think that that is certainly one good way to go if you're not going to be taking, like Starmie, for example, which you're not because he banned it out. Claydol, which I still think he should take, but doesn't have that yet. But yeah, he's not overly concerned about Spikes, and then obviously any ground Pokemon is going to be a reasonable choice when there's a Raikou on the other side, and Flygon is randomly good against like Regirock and such as well. Just a generic good Mon in the format, and then Gyarados, way stronger in this than it is in OU. There's only a handful of counters, and you can end up banning or taking half of them. Skarm's gone, you've got the Zapdos, and then Bulky Waters, there's only so many. Granted, Tyros does have 2 of the Bulky Waters, so maybe Gyarados is a little bit worse, but I'm a big Gyara fan, and Intimidate is really good, so he's got double Intim. He might even pick up like Arcanine or Tauros, which are the other good Intimidators down the road. Totally fine with these picks. 2 of the better Mons that are still in the pool. The response from Tyros certainly indicating that we are going down the road that I said of removing special walls, booming on whatever's left for special walls, and then going to town with special attackers. We've got Sceptile, who, yes, it learns physical moves. Yes, it could be weird mix sets. He can have Endeavor, Focus Punch, whatever. By and large, primary role by a lot, Sceptile is a special attacker. So to me, this is supporting evidence that he's doing the thing that I was just talking about. Dragonite, I don't know that it necessarily super duper fits with the theme. It can certainly be a special attacker, but just a generic good mon, very versatile, gives him his first heal bell option if he values that. And then, yeah, if he wants to make another special mon, sure. If he feels like physical finishers are drying up, which he might be right, this gives him probably the last good DDer, since both the other ones, Mence and Gyra, are both already on the other side. Doesn't want to be left out of the DD party. He can do that as well. Little T-Wave support for the team. I'm cool with Dragonite. It's a pick that I basically am never going to criticize. I really, really like that mon as an in general. Here is the response from Blues. He's going to take Heracross. All the fighters still available, so for him, this is the best one. And then he's going to take Cloyster, so he's going to have both of the Spiker Spinners into an opponent who has no Rapid Spinner right now. And the Claydol is starting to get more and more egregious in my mind. Why is that not being grabbed by one player or the other? Certainly now, with both of these dudes on the other side, and the Starmie banned out, and the double electric here, you've gotta take Claydol if you are DarthTyros. It feels like a no-brainer at this point. As far as the fighters, Blues may lean towards a more offensively inclined fighter. I mean, they all are to an extent, but like Heracross is not as good defensively as, say, Hariyama, and maybe arguably even Medicham as well. Medicham has a couple of useful resistances that Hera doesn't have, and Medicham also learns Recover, for example. But I think with double Intimidate already, I think that some of the better Hera counters, or at least Hera checks, are already out of the pool, and you are therefore more inclined to go that way. So, like, I could see with this draft specifically why he might view that as more valuable than, like, Hariyama or what have you. Now, granted, I personally still, staring down the two Fat Reggies and the Lax, I personally lean Hariyama here rather than Heracross, but the Heracross pick does not offend me. And Hariyama is still in the pool and still an option for him if he wants to go that way, and I think I would definitely consider that if I were in his position. The Cloysters gives him the second Spiker Spinner, so clearly dominating the Spikes War. Not even close. Not only does he have far more Spikes immunities at this time by, like I said, by a lot. Not even close. Way more Spikes immunities on Blue's side. But in addition to that, he's got 2 Spikers to none and 2 Spinners to none. So right now, Blues is really smoking him in that regard. So the response on the other side, we are going to see... Am I reading this right? Okay. Charizard and Kingdra. Hey, look. This whole draft, it's the only way I'm going to be able to explain away some of these picks and keep my sanity. Tyros has a plan. That's it. That's going to be my explanation for a lot of things. His plan, coming into this, clearly, ban out the special walls, boom on the other ones, and let my special attackers go wild. I don't agree with a number of these picks. I don't hate these picks, but the Kingdra seem... I mean, Charizard's fine, but it doesn't seem great into Blues' draft. And I think this is an early Kingdra, good mon, but I don't know that he needed to take it here. But my answer to all the head-scratcher picks, and there have been a number, is that Tyros has a plan. So, hey, regardless of what some random dude on YouTube says, if you get a plan, you go for it, you commit, you stick to it, and you look like a smart guy at the end of the day if it works. So here we are. The response on the other end is going to be Ludicolo, and a cat on the keyboard again, and Vaporeon. Yeah, Bulky Water's starting to run dry. The Starmie got banned out, the Swampert and the Milotic are already taken. In my opinion, Vaporeon is the best bulky water still available. He did have the Blastoise option, but he doesn't need it right now. There's no Spikers on the other side. And then he had the Slowbro option as well. To me, Vaporeon is the better Mon, though Slowbro definitely has more sets. And I think it's just a generically good pick. Ludicolo, not a Mon that I'm ever a huge fan of. It's like okay against Raikou, but it doesn't really... once Raikou sets up a sub, which it should always be able to do because it's way faster than Ludicolo, Ludi doesn't really have a great way to stop that. You obviously can't like Leech Seed or Toxic through it or whatever, and Raikou with its good special defense and it can start Calm Minding up, etc., can prevent you from breaking those subs. I mean, Ludicolo is like a non-status Swampert counter, and it's like okay against Lax, but not a huge Ludi fan. He may view this as kinda, sorta a special wall, all things considered, and it really is running thin. If that's his mindset, I would have liked to have seen him take Chansey instead of Ludicolo, I think, but yeah, he may just prefer them on, and like I said, we're getting really dry on special walls, so this is going to be his answer. Is Claydol not getting grabbed at any time? It seems like such a no-brainer pick for DarthTyros. I liked it already with the double electric and the Gengar on the other side. That would have been enough for me to take Claydol, but he has subsequently added another Spiker and another thing whose primary attack is Stab Earthquake. Surely, Claydol, right? Right? Of course not. Why do I bother predicting with Tyros? No way. We're going to take Venusaur and Weezing instead. The Weezing, I think, is a good pick. It protects his Lax, and it's good against the Heracross on the other side. It's also perfectly reasonable against, like, Flygon, Gyarados, whatever. I'm down with the Weezing pick. There's no way in hell. I mean, the Venusaur's fine. It's okay. There's no way in hell that I would take the Venusaur over Claydol here. Crazy to me that Doll is not taken, and certainly if I'm Blues, I would pick or ban it out here. There's no way that I would let Tyros get Doll. Like the Weezing pick, don't like the Venusaur pick. Not going to go too far down the rabbit hole, more than I already have with Tyros. His draft is puzzling to me, but I do think he has a plan and he's sticking to it. There's not going to be a lot to say other than let's see how it plays out. If it works out for him, he'll look smart. If it doesn't, well, there's some things you could second guess. How about that? On the other side, I would say an earlier than usual Gardevoir, and then a Hariyama here, which is the fighter that I liked over the Heracross, but hey, why choose between them when you could just go back 2 rounds later and end up with both? The Hari is good against the, like I said, Lax, Regirock, Regice. I personally, if I'm Blues, would pick up another fighter here somewhere. Medicham immediately comes to mind, but almost all of them are still available. The only 2 that have been taken have both been taken by Blues, so pick of the litter. I like fighters against Tyros' draft. Would certainly pick up another. Gardevoir, interesting, kind of a protection pick. Jolteon, it can trace Volt Absorb, so it can be a little bit of a counter there. Same deal, it can trace Levitate against Flygon, be a little bit of a counter there. And he might be really just like pounding the bottom of the barrel for special walls, so I guess Ludicolo, Gardevoir are going to be kind of sort of special walls, all things considered. Maybe Zapdos as well. All the traditional ones are gone, which is very much what Tyros' plan is, so I guess these are gonna have to play the role in the context of this draft, and I guess I've been right all along about what the plan is. Tyros seems really, truly committed to this deny the special wall things. He's gonna ban Chansey here, so if the plan was not already evident, it is absolutely confirmed. This is what he's doing. This is what the strategy is. I mean, yeah, I guess I can agree with the ban, right? I mean, if this is the plan, if this has been the strategy all along, then the logical ban would be Chansey. So there you go. It's gone, and special walls at this point largely gone, largely hard to come by. You would have to get really creative at this point, and whatever it would be kind of loose, kind of a stretch. So I think the state of the special walls at this point is what it is, and Tyros is banking on getting there with things like Raikou, things like Alakazam, things like Sceptile, things like Kingdra. That's the plan. Let's see how it works. Blues on the other side is going to go for Magneton here. Interesting. No Scarman play. It does protect his Fori. Magneton, I think, in general, is underrated in this. It is a Bolt Beam resist and can be built fully defensively, and it's actually a reasonably decent piece. It's also a normal resist, not that that is really a factor here. It doesn't really beat Lax, obviously, but it can switch into Tauros, who's locked on things other than Earthquake, for example, or if your opponent has like random Ursaring or Zangoose or whatever, the normal resist can be a factor there as well. The Magneton ban, I think, is mostly to protect his Electrics and his Gengar, because like I said, it is largely a Bolt Beam resist. So I don't hate that ban. It makes sense when you are trying to Bolt Beam spam your opponent to death, which Blues does have a little bit of here. Like I said, double Electric Gengar, maybe even the Gardevoir. And yeah, that'll be the plan. Take away one of the only true Bolt Beam resists that this generation has to offer. And yeah, Tyros sticking with the plan. Anything that might stop his special attackers, get rid of it. Dugtrio, I don't know, is amazing into most of his special attackers. Obviously, as the Raikou drafter, you want to get rid of that. I don't know that Dugtrio actually beats Alakazam. You're just flipping a coin on the speed tie. I don't know that it actually beats Sceptile, that it actually beats Kingdra. So I don't know that Dugtrio is amazing into his draft as a whole. That might very much just be looking at the Raikou. I mean, not that Dugtrio is incredible on the other side. There's just like Metagross, Heracross, and not a lot else. In general, I don't think Dugtrio is that damn good in this format. I just don't. But as the Raikou drafter, as the special attack drafter, especially if you're planning on drafting some other things that are maybe Dugtrio vulnerable in this third round, fine. Not a mon that I'm all that impressed with, but this ban doesn't offend me. And then BluesEnergy is going to scoop up Houndoom. Makes sense to me as the Fori Gengar drafter. That may remind DarthTyros that Umbreon is out there, which is probably the best special wall remaining, and there's Gengar right there, so no-brainer picks to me for DarthTyros. How about Umbreon plus Claydol here? That's what I would do, and that's definitely, absolutely what Tyros is going to do. Right? That ship has sailed, guys. He doesn't... It's not going to happen. You knew that. You knew that. Fool me once. I couldn't convince you twice. Entei Espeon. Nowhere near the Umbreon Claydol that I would take. Two special attackers. He's got a plan. He's removing special walls, removing Dugtrio, drafting special attackers and Calm Minders. Those are his third Calm Minders. Raikou's one. Actually, fourth Calm Minder. Zam is two. And then Entei Espeon, third and fourth Calm Minder, respectively. Remove special walls, click Calm Mind, achieve victory. That's the plan. Hey, he's sticking to it. On the other side, Dusclops and Miltank. Safe to say that BluesEnergy has won the Spikes War that Tyros has not even attempted to participate in. He is a non-combatant in the Spikes War. 0 spinners, 0 spikers. Tyros taking this a completely different way, not even trying to fight him on spikes. So, yep, you know what? Dusclops, gonna block all those rapid spins, but hey, do I have the counter for that? I didn't pick any rapid spinners. Get fucking leveled, BluesEnergy. Tyros on a higher plane. Miltank is a good pick. 2 Firemons on the other side. It's actually a far better Charizard Entei counter than you would think that it is. With thick fat and with reasonable organic bulk and a pseudo recover in Milk Drink, it actually handles Firemons really well. It also can learn Earthquake if you specifically want to target the Entei, but it has like T-Wave as well, which neither of those Firemons really like. It can also just have Heal Bell, can have Body Slam, whatever you want to do. But for me, I think Miltank, other than just being a generically good Gloomon, generically good Heal Bell user, I think as a counter pick to Firemons is largely what one of its better roles is. So Tyros finally, for like the first time in the history of the world, does something that I agree with by taking Umbreon here. We've already talked about that. I guess the Dusclops is what it took to convince him, But if he's trying to take away special walls, Umbreon, in my opinion, is the best one that's left. And it's good against the Gar. Needed to be pushed over the edge, so it's going to be good against Gengar and Gardevoir and now Dusclops, and it's the best special wall available. It fits his strategy, and it's good into the opponent's draft. I like the Umbreon. Feels like an obvious pick. Electabuzz over Claydol seems egregiously dumb. There's no way that you shouldn't take Doll, but I think Tyros at this point, there's no way he forgot about it. He just doesn't want it, which is not a take given what's on the other side. Not a perspective that I share or that I agree with, but he hasn't forgotten, and it hasn't been for lack of opportunity. He's had a million chances to take it, and he just flat out doesn't want it. Not something I agree with, but yeah, he just doesn't want it. Okay, on the other side, we have Steelix and Jinx. Steelix is a protection pick, one of the better answers to Electrics, but as we just established with the Claydol thing, Tyros has decided that he doesn't give a fuck about that, and he just wants to attack you. He just wants to play offense. Yeah, you have stuff. They're threats. I can't really switch into it. That's all overrated. I'm just going to attack. I've got special attackers. I took away your special walls. Yeah, you can kill me with your special attackers, but fuck you. I've got my own special attackers. That's the plan. Steelix is a mon that Tyros could have grabbed. Claydol is a mon that Tyros could have grabbed. Don't need him. Blues takes him for his own protection. Fine and well. Jinx is interesting. Doesn't necessarily blow me away against Tyros' draft, but there are a few things that immediately stand out. Obviously a threat against Venusaur, against Weezing, against Dragonite, against Sceptile. Can outspeed things like Lax, like Milo, like the Reggies. Give them a sweet little kiss, or I guess a lovely little kiss. Sweet kiss is a different move. And make them take a nap. I don't know that I've ever been kissed in such a lovely way that I immediately fell asleep, but that's neither here nor there. I could take or leave the Jinx pick. If I thought Tyros was ever going to take it, then I would counter draft the Claydol pick if I'm Blues, but he probably feels just as confident as I do at this point that Tyros ain't going to take it, so what's the harm? He's going to not take it again here. He's going to go with Porygon 2 and Slowbro. Porygon 2 is Gardevoir logic, so all the things that Gardevoir would have done against Blues, the Porygon 2 will do as well. You can trace Volt Absorb, you can trace Levitate, you can trace Water Absorb. Yeah, seems like a reasonable mon. Again, generic special attacker, if that's your thing. Has T-Wave, whatever. Generic good mon, kind of like a mini bulky water in a lot of cases. It really does function as a bulky water. By and large, pretty similar to like how Vaporeon would. Hell, I think it's like a better bulky water mostly than like Blastoise or Slowbro. At least it gets recover unlike those mons. And Slowbro is just another, not only special attacker, but another Calm Minder, his 5th Calm Minder, if that's the plan, which it obviously is. On the other side, this scare tactic, as we've seen a number of times, the Hariyama drafter has been inclined to take the Marowak Ninjask late. That is one of the flavors of the tournament. We've yet to see it actually work, but always scary. With Tyros, it might not be the right opponent to do this against. He has clearly demonstrated that he doesn't give a fuck what you have, and he's just going to stick to his plan and ignore you. So I don't know that Tyros is going to change the way that he builds, or that he approaches things. Because of the Marowak and Ninjask that were just taken, I think he's going to largely just choose to ignore them. Can Blues, use that to his advantage and actually use these and achieve success with them? Time will tell. But obviously Marowak a threatening poke, even more so when Ninjask can pass speed to it, or to Metagross, or to Gyarados, or to Heracross, or to Hariyama, what have you. And then we're going to skip over these picks real quick because I'm just going to pull my hair out. So we're going to take Raichu, which is like, sure, fine, and fucking Grumpig. Look, Raichu's fine. Grumpig's kind of shit. It's not even better than Hypno. Either way, there's absolutely no way that these should be the picks over Claydol. It's wrong. It's dumb. It's an oversight. It's tunnel visioned. I'm fine with Tyros having a plan. I don't fundamentally hate his plan. There's such thing as being too tunnel visioned, and going this entire draft without taking Claydol, given what's on the other side, in my mind, very much qualifies in that overly tunnel visioned category. And then the last pick finally for BluesEnergy, and keeping in mind it's no longer about denying anything from Tyros because Tyros is done. So what does Blues think he might use in this situation? I mean, he sees 3 electrics on the other side, so we've got our first Lantern appearance here against like Electabuzz, Raikou, I guess, and then like as a Watermon, it's like good against Zard and Entei, and Bro, I guess. I mean, on paper the typing seems to be decent, but in practice I'm not sure how good it'll be or if it'll even make a team. We're going to be brief for the outro on this one, because like I said, what is to say other than Tyros has a plan, and he's just going to try to execute it. I don't agree with a lot of his picks. This is the very last time I'm going to mention this Mon in this video, because I'm going to explode, but the Aerodactyl thing, I just don't agree with from either player. There's no way it should make it through the first round, but it's even worse for Tyros, I think. I think he could have stuck to his plan and still got the Alakazam that he wants to have, which he views as an essential piece of the plan. I don't think it would have gotten banned out. I think he still could have gotten that while still taking the stupid Aerodactyl. And another reason that he should have taken it is because if you're going special spam, doesn't the thing, if Blues had picked it up, which he was kind of a silly Billy to not grab it either, doesn't Aerodactyl destroy special spam? Like, if your plan is to be like Raikou, Alakazam, Entei, Espeon, Getcha, doesn't Aerodactyl just piss on you? Like, isn't that like really, really high on the list of stuff that you do not want to play against? That pick's crazy to me. Not taking Claydol is crazy to me. Like I said, very tunnel visioned. Tyros could use a Rock Resist for sure. His Rock Resist right now is it literally just Swampert? I mean, Regirock basically counts. It doesn't technically resist Rock, but it might as well. So, like, okay, 1.5 Rock Resist. You've got Swampert and Regirock. Insanity to me. Absolute insanity to me. If I'm Blues, my Metagross, my Salamence, my Flygon, maybe even my Gyarados, we all have Rock attacks, and we know that our opponent on the other side cannot do a whole heck of a lot about that at all. And then the Spikes War, Tyros a non-combatant. Both Spiker Spinners for Blues. Hell, I would have pushed it further. Instead of some of this crap, instead of Ninjask, Marowak, Jinx, Lantern, why not just Glalie at the end? Why not have 3 Spikers into an opponent who has 0 response to that whatsoever? Did not even try. No spinners, does not care about your spikes. I absolutely, in Blue's seat over some of this stuff, like I said, looking at these last 4, Jinx, Marowak, Ninjask, Lantern, somewhere in there, I would have cut one of those dudes and gotten Glalie in there and just had an overwhelming, dominating, I have spikes every game, you have spikes in none of the games kind of advantage. Overall, I think this is one of the jankiest, low-quality drafts that we've seen. Not trying to hate on these guys. They are free to draft whatever they want, and I appreciate them being in the tournament, and I like both guys just as human beings. But a lot of the time I've watched some of these drafts, and I've been like, wow, these guys are both drafting really well. All these picks make sense. I'm not clear who's winning. These guys really get the format. And I very much did not feel that way in this draft. Of the two, I definitely give the advantage to Blues. And I think that Tyros' draft is frankly kind of a mess. He's got a plan. Very tunnel visioned on that plan. If it works, then I eat crow. And hey, it won. But having absolutely no presence in the Spikes War, no Spikers, no Spinners, passing up on crucial Mons like Arrow and Claydol, and then having 1 Rock Resist, literal actual 1 Rock Resist in Swampert on the entire effing team. And that's not because he doesn't have Rock weaknesses, by the way. All those things considered, Spikes War dominance, really questionable couple of picks, and one rock resist. Despite Blues not, I think, drafting amazingly either, I'm going to give the advantage to Blues here. Is it possible? Because, yes, truly, the one thing that Tyros set out to achieve is deny the special walls and win that war. Is it possible that Blues, with his janky pseudo-special walls in Ludicolo and Gardevoir and Zapdos, is it possible that Blues just gets bulldozed over by the relentless special offense of DarthTyros? Yes, that is possible. I can see DarthTyros winning this draft. But if you're asking me who I think drafted better, I don't think either one drafted great, but hands down, I think Blues drafted better. So let me know what you guys think, and I want to remind you guys one more time, if you want to see the mind of the madman, if you want to see the chaos, if you want to see how the fuck we ended up here and why we did or didn't take stuff, go to the DarthTyros YouTube channel. He's only got like 50 subs, and he would love for you to be sub 51. There's going to be a link in the description if you want to check him out and support him. I'm going to go scream the word Aerodactyl probably 5 or 6 times in the shower and then head off to work. Appreciate you guys. I will see you in the next video.